Hi, I'm Meg from Evolution Power Yoga and Evolution Go. And this is your 20-minute opportunity to learn inversion prep with a focus on handstands. We'll be taking a look at these handstands with my assistant Ruby Lou through the eyes of the 3 themes of Baptiste Yoga. The first theme of Baptiste Yoga that we're going to take a look at is you are ready now. You are ready right now. You are in the space in your practice, whether it's super advanced or very beginner, to begin the steps and the pieces of your practice to get upside down safely, concisely, and mindfully. First things first, let's learn about being upside down while we're right side up. So a handstand is exactly like what Ruby's doing right here, standing on her feet. So this is what I like to call a foot stand. And then Ruby, if you'll raise your hands overhead, this is a handstand. It's just upside down. So for this first piece, you'll just put your attention on arms overhead, wrists nice and flexed, fingertips spread apart as if you plan on putting your palms on the ceiling. Now press into your palms as if you're touching the ceiling. And press into the 4 corners of both feet like you're connecting through your mat and into the floor. You want these 2 points to pull apart from one another until you start to generate heat in both the muscles of your legs, your arms, and then your upper back. As that heat starts to build, squeeze the muscles into the bone, the muscles of your arms into the bones, the muscles of your core deep into the center line of your body so that everything starts to hug in and heat up. All right, let your arms come down, Rubes. Step number 2, let's go to downward facing dog and we'll start there. So you've got that sense in your head of the heat starting to build in your body and muscle hugging into bone. So we'll work on those pieces here in downward facing dog as we move forward. So in your down dog, your body's in an upside down letter V shape with a bit of softness to the back of your knees so your hamstrings can open and your fingertips spread out super wide on your mat so there's lots of surface area to work with. Now you can take a moment or 2 to pedal out your feet or shake out your head and get yourself situated into your downward facing dog. And then settle into stillness. Each one of your fingertips connected, and now start to hug muscle into bone. The same thing that you were doing while you were standing upright. So the pit of your belly pulls into towards the front of your spine. Each one of your toes connects to the floor. Each one of your fingertips grips down towards the floor. So even if I came in front of Ruby and started to pluck her fingers up off the mat, they wouldn't move because they're so gripped down into the foundation of her pose. Now, next piece. You'll walk your feet about halfway up your mat so that your down dog is in a shorter stance. It might feel a little bit awkward, and that's okay. You're stacking your bones to start to build the building blocks for getting upside down safely and comfortably. So in your shortened downward dog stance, spread out your fingers nice and wide and reconnect them to the mat. Now take your gaze, your drishti, right in front of your fingertips. So you're forming a triangle with this base of the pose, hand to hand and hands up to your gaze point. Lift your right leg up to the sky and flex your ankle a lot. You want a lot of energy, a lot of muscular action squeezing into the bones on this lifted leg, and a lot of power in the foot that's touching the floor. You can stay right here with your gaze focused in front of your fingertips, and maybe you play with your weight, shifting so that your shoulders are now stacked a little further ahead of your wrists. That's the scary part for a lot of people, having the shoulders stacked on top of and then a little bit in front of the wrists where the weight distribution starts to make its way forward into your fingertips. The second theme of Baptiste Yoga is give up what you must. This is your opportunity to bring something new into your practice and to invite a new possibility in what you can do on your mat and what you can do in your life. So rather than looking through the lens of, I'm not flexible enough, I'm not strong enough, I haven't been practicing enough, all of that can get put aside. You're ready right now, give up what you must, and step into the space where you can take each piece of this inversion work into your practice. So without even taking your foot off the ground, you can do what Ruby's doing right here and come up to your tippy toes and then lower the heel back down, up to the tippy toes, and heel back down. Switch sides. Make sure that you do it on both sides, even if one side feels more comfortable than the other, so that you got a sense of balance and both sides can develop that skill set. So Ruby will do a couple of times up on the tippy toes, letting that weight come forward into her fingertips, letting all of that weight press down into the edges of her palms while all of the muscles squeeze deep into the bones. Okay, Ruby, downward facing dog. I'm sure your hamstrings are talking to you right now. Give yourself time while you're working these pieces of the inversions. A lot of the time during class, it feels like you're rushed. You've only got a couple of minutes. You're trying to do the thing and it feels frenetic and all over the place. Practicing at home or practicing at a space in the studio before you take class is the perfect opportunity to take your time and do things in a mindful way. So when you're in class and only have a few moments, you know exactly what you need to do from step one to finish. Now you've got that action of everything hugging in, got the action in downward dog of the weight shifting forward to your hands and the leg up in the air. The next piece that we're gonna do is a little bit of a hop. So Ruby will walk her feet halfway up the mat, just like you did, and send one leg up to the sky. Flex the ankle. Two most important parts here. Pit of the belly stays in and up. You want the whole torso to stay integrated, and that top leg stays super straight, muscle hugged into bone. You'll take a little hop with the foot that's on the floor and let the foot come back down. Just pause, cool, no big deal, nothing happened. Take a breath and then take another hop. Beautiful. We'll take one more hop on this side. Eyes on one spot right in front of your fingertips. You hop and come down, downward facing dog to reset. Know that there's no need to rush from one side to the other and get really out of breath and disjointed. That'll just lead to frustration while you're practicing this and make it feel like I'm not really into that. That's not for me. I don't want that in my practice right now. So you're just going one piece at a time. So let's do the other leg. Walk your feet forward, halfway up your mat, fingertips connected, pit of the belly in and up, and take a little hop. Let the foot come back down. Slow and controlled, you take a breath, reset your hands if you need to, and then hop. One more time, eyes on one spot. Drishti, super important when you're getting upside down and doing handstand prep. Then downward facing dog to reset. So you might find that hopping that high up, like Ruby has been doing since she's been working on this for a while, seems a little too much and like it might be too scary. It is perfectly fine to stay with just hopping an inch off the ground because even that little piece is you getting upside down. It's you getting your hips above your heart, and that means it's an inversion. The last theme of Baptiste Yoga is be a yes. This one's super important when it comes to getting upside down. Getting upside down needs all the other stuff moved out of the way so that you can have fun and be safe and feel confident while you're on your mat in the studio and in your mat at home when you're practicing virtually. So whether it looks messy or it feels super challenging, be a yes for it and keep trying again and again until you feel confident that you can stick those handstands in the studio during a live class. We're gonna take that last step one more time, but we'll shorten up the stance even more so that you're stacking your shoulders on top of your wrists and then even a little bit further forward, then stick a leg up in the air and take a hop. Shoulders will shift right in front of the wrists. Beautiful, Ruby. And the hips will come up towards your shoulders. Take another hop. Nice. Downward facing dog to reset. So there'll be times where you get a tiny bit of space and you're like, oh, I'm super frustrated. This just isn't working for me. And other times where you get way up there, get a little spooked, and then both feet come down to the ground and you're super excited. All it takes is practice. So you'll be working in these handstand prep things, going through the 3 themes of Baptiste Yoga. And those are, you are ready now, give up what you must, and be a yes. So in the beginning of your work, you are ready right now. No matter how advanced your practice is or how new you are to the practice, you're ready right now to take on these tools that Ruby just demonstrated to start to make inversions part of your practice. Give up what you must. You just take the pieces that you're working with and go one thing at a time. If you're looking through the lens of, I can't do this, I'm not flexible, this is too scary, or all of those other things in front, it makes the work much more complicated than it needs to be. So you just put that to the side and let there be work and possibility happening on your mat. The final piece, be a yes. Just be a yes for it. Step into the space of, I am now a practitioner that does inversions in my practice. I'm now the type of person that's okay with being messy in the studio and messy on my mat at home and seeing what comes up. So be a yes with it. Do piece by piece of this inversion work, and you'll be doing handstands in no time.